Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to the program. You're watching SMART24 TV, and we do drive your business. My name is Anthony, and this is the point where we talk policies that do affect you and I in our day-to-day business and in our day-to-day lives. And of course, we talk in line with the policymakers and what can be done to improve the policies here in East Africa so we can have a better business community. Now, today you can join us, of course, on Twitter. If you want to join this conversation that we are going to have today at SMART24 TV and give us a comment. We are also live on YouTube on our live stream. That is at SMART24 TV Live. You can leave a comment in the comment section where you can have your concern actually come through to us. We shall definitely be able to respond. Now, the East African community, of course, it's a regional body, and it's expanding day to day. Currently, the DRC just joined the bloc. However, prior to its collapse in the 1977, the East African community was one of the oldest and arguably the most prosperous blocs, regional blocs, that is, and economic communities in the continent, that is in Africa. And of course, founded in 1967 by Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. It was an achievement of which, of course, we had earlier failed to run up to in independence. Now, in 2014, however, we have several reports coming in about the youth engagement in the community of East Africa. And of course, there has been a very huge drive towards integration of the East African countries to come together, not only in terms of the work communions, but also getting to integrate our politics, getting to integrate our currencies, and so many other things that have been viewed. But according to reports from the different youth engagements on the East African community, there has been a little bit of a lack of participation of the young people in this integration. And because young people, of course, between age 15 to 35 are the biggest in this population. We are talking about over 60% of East Africans between the age of 15 and 35. And most of these are actually facing various problems like unemployment. They do have different rights being abused at work. Some of them haven't been able to go to school. And there's so many other challenges that are currently facing the young East Africans. We're talking about Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and all the other communities that make up the East African community. Now, today, we are talking the different investment opportunities that the different youth in the region can be able to take part and be able to participate as well, both economically and also socially, in the transparency and the growth of the integration of the East African community. And of course, today we have a very wonderful gentleman with me on set already, Mr. Rukundo Paul.
Yes.
Who is from the East African Youth Network.
Yeah.
You're most welcome, Mr. Paul.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Good evening, viewers. My name is Paul Rukundo, and I'm the coordinator for the East African Youth Network, the Ugandan chapter. Maybe to give a snapshot of what the East African Youth Network is. Of course, this is a network of different young organizations led by young people, both in civil society, in private sector, and also student bodies. So the role of the East African Youth Network is basically to bring together all those youth organizations, to bring them to speed of the integration that is happening, to support their main agenda of bringing the different countries together to form that board of EAC. And we believe that when we come together, we have very many opportunities that we can leverage on to make sure that young people benefit from this particular integration. So this East African Youth Network, for us, we decided to form a body or a platform where we engage most of the young people in different countries of the community, where we engage them, we bring them together, and also try to involve them in the integration process. If there are opportunities here and there, we try to inform them of what is happening, what level we are, what are the opportunities, so that they can also move together with the integration. We don't want an integration where we have different classes integrated and the rest of us, we are not part of that particular integration that we are pushing for.
Yes.
So that's what the East African Youth Network is currently doing.
Well, Mr. Rukundo, before we get into the discussion of the opportunities and the young people out there that, of course, are waiting to hear from you, but there's an issue here of young people not participating in this integration. According to different East African community reports, the political federation is the ultimate pillar of the East African community, and the integration process preceded by the customs union, a common market, and the monetary union, in that order, have been the main agenda for the East African community. However, each of these pillars has been problematic, especially to implement, and of course, leading to skeptics to say that the federation may actually remain as a mirage, not very clearly on paper, right? As it is also facing challenges of completely, having the political systems integrated. But also the young people haven't been fully engaged. When you look at the different platforms, we are seeing ministers going to Arusha and so on, and many other people that, yes, are doing a good job, but we haven't seen the integration of the young people. To what extent has the East African community done
Well,
this?
I think I will agree with you that to some extent, or to a large extent, young people haven't been involved in the process of integration. But I think it has just started of recent, much as I don't know whether the framers of the treaty didn't envisage that. But recently there was a provision, especially in the Directorate of Gender, Labour and Social Development at the Secretariat in Arusha, to have at least youth organizations incorporated in that directorate, so that they can engage them in terms of sketching opportunities and also involving them in the process. But it has been a challenge. I think when you look at those pillars, I think they were very open to everyone. They didn't really look at some of the special interest groups, but recently they had to bring it on and make sure that young people are really protected in that sense, and also women. They are also included that entry point for women also to come on board and also join the process. Like I think we recently will be in Nairobi. Different youth members from Kenya, Tanzania, from all the member states. We met in Nairobi, and the whole point of our meeting was how do we now move the integration from offices now to the real people. And since it was a youth kind of meeting, we are focusing on how do we now get most of the young people get on board, get involved in this process. If we talk of customs union, how many young people are trading and how are they moving their products and goods across borders? If we talk of common markets, are we really moving? Or there are some non-tariff barriers that are actually stopping us from crossing to Congo, crossing to Tanzania. So we are basically looking at all those issues that are actually stopping young people from benefiting from all these pillars that are in place. But it is also our role as young people also to claim for these spaces. We are saying, if we are talking of integration, where are the young people? Where are they? We also don't need to really sit back and leave everything to some of these technocrats. We also have to find ways of penetrating these spaces and also have our voice, incorporated in the process of integration. But I think really there is some effort of involving young people because we have had several activities in different countries. Even recently we had an activity here in Uganda that was organized by the East African Science and Technology Commission, ISTECO, that actually was a competition for an innovation competition between young people of East Africa. And winners were given $5,000 as a way of motivating them and also adding a token to what they are doing. And it happened here in Uganda. And young people were, from different countries were brought in here to pitch their ideas and compete, and they were voted for. So previously, really, efforts were very, limited, but I think now there is an improvement in terms of engaging young people to also be part of this process. And even in the East African Business Council, I think we had an opportunity of also engaging with their ED, which is Mr. Karisa, John Bosco Karisa. We also had a discussion with him on how can we really bring young people who are in business on board to make sure that they benefit from some of the opportunities that are in the region, see how they can be helped to actually move their products from here, and they participate in that trade, because we believe that integration is here for us. It's not here for anybody else. They are here the integration is here to help us, the citizens of the entire region, to benefit from it. So if there are these, commissions, if there are these, directorates, and they are doing the work of integration, and the young people are nowhere, then there we must come in and ask, how are you integrating without the biggest population of the community? So at least I agree that previously real engagements were very few, but now there is there is hope, and really plainly, if I can say it plainly, that young people now are really getting on board and they are getting engaged, and we believe that by the time we reach, in 2030 or 20 something, because there are some strategies that they have put in place to make sure that we integrate fully, both socially, economically, and politically. So, but for us, what we are asking, that for these strategies that are in place, talk of the industrialization strategy, the cotton textile strategy, the fruit and vegetable value addition strategy, all these are strategies for the EAC. So we are saying all these strategies that are in place, if young people are not part of these strategies, then we shall not really attain the integration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Rukundo, we've started the topic on integration, but taking back the common person to the agenda of integration, the president here, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is very passionate about this, and he talks about the Pan-Africanism, the patriotism, and that how people should be proud of where they come from, and how regions should actually come together and work together. From your personal experience, and also from working with the young people under the East African Youth Network, what are some of the highlights you've seen as those that stand out in the integration? What really does integration bring on the table?
Well, for me, first of all, I've been engaged in business. I'm a trader. Actually, I export.
Within East Africa or outside?
Yeah, outside and within.
Okay.
Because I export to Congo, Nairobi, then to also some other markets. So for me, what is important, especially in the business sense, it is market. And integration brings us around 400 million people. And when I talk of people, I'm talking about the extent to which the market is. Because when I talk of the 400 people, these are the people who will need food. Because me, I'm trading food. There is supply, agricultural products. These are the people who will need food. So if you make it easy for me to move my products to Congo, if you move my products South Sudan, to Kenya, to Tanzania, then me as a young person, I am benefiting, and it is really so much outstanding. And I really like that the integration brings a bigger market for us to trade.
Congo has over 80 million people.
Yes.
Or close to that.
Yes. So these are very important, aspects, because when I have this bigger market for myself, that means I'm also making a lot of money. Then also, the integration also brings the sense of security, because recently, I think it is even still going on. There is a war going on in Congo, and we have seen, the East African force coming together to say that we need Congo safe, so that our people can really develop. Because when you are not peaceful, or when you have a security threat around you, you cannot progress. So when we say that let's come together and also benefit from the opportunities of us coming together. Then also, when we talk of we are in a competition kind, sort of. you have a bigger United States of America coming together, and they have now a bigger advantage over any other bloc. Yes.
Exactly.
So, normally President Museveni talks of we as East Africans complaining of things that really do not make sense. He was referring to when President Mwalimu Nyerere was preaching about, the integration, because ideally it was his idea to integrate the East Africa. So very many people thought that Nyerere wanted to be the president of the East Africa. They never looked at the bigger picture of what it means to come together as a region. So nobody, President Museveni, talks of reducing the competition to member states, because there was also a debate that how do we unite with Uganda, yet we're a bigger economy than Uganda. That is Kenya arguing that for us we're a bigger economy, so we cannot unite with smaller economies. Then there is also Tanzania saying we are bigger than Uganda. Uganda is saying we are bigger than Congo. But in a nutshell, these are small, President normally calls them small dwarfs. These are dwarfs competing on who is taller than the other. Because we are all dwarfs. Exactly. Instead of coming together and we add our height to compete with the states like USA, for us we are, competing at the member state level, which I think really doesn't make sense. When we come together, there are so many opportunities that we benefit from. Talk of the public, the public goods, because now what we are going for is now member states contributing to these public projects, the projects of constructing roads, the projects of constructing railway lines, so that we have bigger projects that are funded by the member states. And I think that is really very important for us as citizens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Rukundo, before we go into the break, in about 5 minutes, the youth have had an outcry on the government. We've seen them on the streets, especially graduates. I'm speaking on behalf of graduates because I've been a graduate myself. And you see many people on the streets holding posters, what next? And one of the things the young people have pointed out is the fact that they have tried their best to go to school, they have gone through the systems, they are working hard, but they have no opportunities. And they're saying that they're looking for the opportunity, just like you have people in the US calling it the American dream. Yeah. They're looking for a dream, something to hold on to. And currently unemployment is above the normal levels, and currently mainly amongst the 70%, which is the young population of the country. If you could point out some of the loopholes that we could be having in our probably education system in the East African community that could be leading to the current escalating levels of employment, if you may.
Okay, thank you so much. I think for me, like in my personal opinion, I would first fault, the education system that we're having in the region that is really preparing us to manage what is not available. Because when you teach me to manage a business, you are not teaching me to actually own one and manage it, but you're only teaching me to, after university, go look for a job, manage someone's business. So the focus should be on how do we train these graduates to create employment, but not to look for employment, to create jobs for themselves. Because I am also part of the problem that has, because I also finished university, I spent very many hours on the street without a job. Up to when I reached the point I was like, okay, enough is enough. I had to also think about of how I can really also come up with my own company and start running it. So, but you realized that I started when it was a bit late for me, because if I had started earlier, my business would be really, progressing and moving forward. So, but the problem begins with how we are being trained, that we are training job seekers, not job creators, and that's where the problem comes from. But of course, at the end of the day, we have to push for reforms in the education that we are exposed to. We have to push for these reforms, and also have to tell these young people that, the problem is bigger, and so we shouldn't really sit back and say we are waiting for the government to, do ABCD. Let's push government to make these reforms, as we are also trying to be part of the solution, not part of the problem that is already in place. of course, when you talk of this, it sounds so big for the young person out there, because it's like, how do I start a company? How do I, get the money to run this company? But I also believe in the idea of, starting small and, you grow your company slowly, so that by the time you reach 5 years, you have gained the experience of running that particular business, and you have also started, getting money from it. Mm-hmm. So as we push for these reforms to change the policies within the education sector, we should also push for government, to capital accessible and affordable, so that young people can go to the banks and access little money, which they can use to begin and start businesses for themselves.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Rukundo. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking young people and the East African community integration, how the participation of the youth will actually promote innovation, will promote job creation, and get the East African community moving. And I am talking to Mr. Rukundo Paul, who is a coordinator of the Ugandan side of the East African Youth Network. We're going to take a very quick commercial break. When I return, returning of course with another guest as well, who is going to join us on set, Mr. Jack Tumosime, who is also the regional coordinator of the East African Youth Network. And of course, we are going to divulge now the discussion into some of the solutions and the investment opportunities that young people can tap into to solve the current unemployment problems. My name is Anthony, and you're watching SMART24 TV. Stay with us. We'll return shortly.